And we are back. There was some political developments this week. We had Bernie Sanders officially dropping out or suspending his campaign. And John Meacham, we had the chaos of the Wisconsin primary. And I say chaos, I'll put up some clips here. The decision to hold that primary, they had problems with their absentee ballot situation. There were long waits, middle of a pandemic. Now the state is going to do contact tracing on new coronavirus cases to see just how much of a debacle that might have been for our health. But what is the more significant development of the week in this campaign? Wisconsin showing how hard it is to hold an actual election during a pandemic, or Sanders finally bowing out?
I think that the Wisconsin drama is the iceberg warning for the election in November. And we have to focus very strongly on this. It's a fundamental voting rights question. Vote by mail, which the president has attacked, has been proven to be quite successful and secure. And I think that all of us have to be vigilant, Republican, Democrat, red, blue, liberal, conservative. The suffrage, the right to vote, people have died to secure that for us, and we can't let it slip away in the midst of this both health crisis and the ensuing economic chaos.
Christian Welker, where has the president gotten it in his head that vote by mail is a bad thing for the Republicans? I mean, we know reports in Florida Republicans are panicked by the president's trashing of vote by mail because it's an important part of their get out the vote strategy.
Right, and a lot of swing states have vote by mail, Chuck. It's also to some extent hypocritical because he has voted by mail in Florida. And so he was at the podium, though, lashing out and trying to make the case that, look, if we consider this seriously for a general election, that ultimately you would have cases of voter fraud. But this is not unlike what we heard from him in the wake of 2016. So he's almost girding his supporters and his base for what could become a key talking point if this is something that moves forward seriously, Chuck.
Yamiche Alcindor, on the issue of Sanders dropping out, I want to put up a little chart we've noted of all the ways that Joe Biden has shifted to the left. Both in trying to appease Elizabeth Warren and trying to appease Bernie Sanders. He's done so lowering Medicare eligibility age to 60. He's now in favor of that. A Sanders proposal forgiving some tuition-related student debt, increasing bankruptcy protections. Yamiche, is this it for Biden's courtship of the progressive movement, or should we expect him to continue moving left, which is a bit unusual once you've won a nomination? Usually on either party, you usually move to the center. But Trump 4 years ago went right. And it looks like Biden, is he going to keep going left?
It seems like Biden is going to at least be pressured to keep going left because you have Bernie Sanders and the movement that he's made. He's really had that impact on the Democratic Party. So people expect Joe Biden to carry some of that progressive flag so that he can attract supporters of Bernie Sanders. And Bernie Sanders, when he was dropping out this week, was already calling out in a way that he didn't in 2016, immediately after he dropped out, to tell his supporters, look, we need to get behind Joe Biden and we need to get behind him fast. So Joe Biden, in order to do that, is likely going to have to maybe pick up some more policies from Bernie Sanders. And quickly on data download, I just think when we think about Bernie Sanders' campaign, one of the main reasons why he lost this time was the same reason why he lost in 2016, and that was his inability to get support from African Americans. When we look at the disparities when it comes to the virus, that's about systemic racism, food deserts, and the conditions that African Americans have had to live in this country that is largely still segregated.
And something you wonder if the timing of Sanders, as somebody said, if this pandemic happened a year ago, Bernie Sanders might be the Democratic nominee today. Lonnie Chen, the president has offered mixed messages when it comes to Bernie Sanders. On one hand, he wants the Sanders supporters to vote for him. On the other hand, other members of the Republican Party want to run against Biden as a Sanders socialist wannabe. Is the president hurting the ability of the party to go after Biden from the center?
I don't know that he is. I mean, look, I think the president's always set this up as this sort of capitalism versus socialism kind of contest. So he's going to fit Joe Biden into that box regardless of what the policy is. You know, this is why this notion that, Biden is going to try and move even farther to the left. I just don't see why he would want to do that, because at the end of the day, the key animating factor for Democrats, whether they're progressives to the far left or in the center, is a desire to beat Donald Trump. So going even farther to the left, to me, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. In terms of for the Republicans, I think that the toughest thing is going to be if Biden continues to hew to a relatively more centrist agenda. It is going to be difficult to put him into the socialist box, obviously in the same way it would have been to put Bernie Sanders there. So the president is going to keep trying to run this frame. I think as long as Joe Biden remains not too far to the left, as long as he doesn't go too far to the left, I think that's going to be a little more challenging as we look toward the fall.
All right, I'm going to have to leave the panel there. I hope all of you have a happy Easter. Those of you celebrating Passover as well, have a happy Passover. I know it's tough to do this from a distance, but that's what we all are living to this challenge right now. That's all we have for today. Thank you for watching. Again, stay safe out there. And we'll be back next week because if it's Sunday, it's Meet the Press. Hello from Washington, I'm Chuck Todd, and thanks for checking out the Meet the Press channel on YouTube. Click on the button down here to subscribe and click over here to watch the latest interviews, highlights, and other digital exclusives.